Ariella, right? Is
Yes.
that how you pronounce it?
Yes.
I just feel like I'm going to butcher it. I see it. It's like, well, how hard is that? It's Ariella.
Ariella, yeah, I know. It takes a while, don't worry.
Um, so we're talking about staying independent, and it's a big risk right now for all hotels, but
Mhm.
especially the independents, right? Because they don't have all that years and years of brand backing.
Mhm.
Um, what are you seeing from your side of it with the boutique hotels? Are they hanging in there?
Yes, you know why? It's because when COVID happened, so I always think it's like about March 13th when panic set into the industry and everyone was freaking out. You went on your LinkedIn, you scrolled, and it was depressing, like you were crying.
Yeah.
But what I noticed independent boutique hotels were doing is they seem to be more focused. They seem to be like, okay, let's powwow tonight, get an all-nighter, and pivot our business model temporarily. Okay, so we can't sell room nights. What are we going to do? And you saw a lot of them get really creative. Like one had an online marketplace. They saw inventory that they had in their hotel and said, well, that can be a revenue source. That'll be a cool way to engage. They obviously hired a developer. It took 3 days. They got an online marketplace up. There's, technology platforms that can help you with that. They started blogs, webinars, podcasts. You see And Beyond out in Africa, they partnered with Wild Earth and they're doing live safaris. Like literally, you can sign up to go on a safari. The camera goes in the truck and you go and see the lions in real time. So that they kept, I saw so many independents stay so engaged. They didn't just say, oh my gosh, we're not going to have revenue for 6 months or whatever it is. They said, okay, we got to do something. So I saw them stay more focused than I did the brands per se. That's maybe it's just, maybe I'm biased here, but that's what I saw.
Well, they have the flexibility, right? They can
Yes.
make those decisions quickly. They're agile.
Exactly. And I think that in so many things, it's even, today we were talking about local vendors. But you see that a lot with boutiques as well. It's like if they are like, hey, you know what, there's this new coffee shop out there. I love the owner. I love their vision. I even love their coffee. Let's get them in here. Let's, negotiate a rate with them and get them in here. Oh, there's this cool new fitness blogger. She lives down the road. Let's get her over here. They've always been flexible. And I think through that's really one of the biggest reasons of their success in our industry and how they've grown so quickly is because they're always on the trends. They're smart about it. And the best ones are they're balancing a trend and what really works long term. And I think since boutique has been growing for 11 years now, like the hoteliers have been getting better at that. Like don't do every trend, balance it. But yeah, as to your point, the flexibility is one of the best aspects about boutique hotels.
Yeah, and you you had liked an article online that caught my attention that prompted me to reach out to you on this, but it was the Wyndham's you know um, after the last recession, they
Mm-hmm.
had this focus to go gobble up independents and boutiques, and that's just, I mean, I read it as you did, and I was just like, oh God, no. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just the guests lose out, right? Because,
Mhm.
and what I have enjoyed, because I'm a little older than you, that, like you said, over the past decade or so, um, consumers have driven more unique experiences, and the brands can't do that hardly.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to what we were just talking about is that flexibility. You don't have to, there's not these like crazy standards you have to adhere to. And that's where you can get authentic. And, I'm not saying like sometimes, yes, it makes sense to sign to a brand. I get that. I'm not like totally anti-brand because we were just chatting before this and it's like boutique, it's not for everyone in terms of the ownership operation side and also for the traveler. It's, you know what I mean? If you're a boutique hotelier, it's because you love the boutique aspect of hospitality. You love the travelers. You love being different and you love being unique. And that's not everyone. And
Right.
I think that's something that not a lot of people talk about. It's kind of like you have to be a blogger, you have to do this, or you have to be an entrepreneur. And it's like, you don't have to be. And I think with boutique, it's the same. But for those, we just got to make sure that boutique hotels, we stay authentic and you don't have to sign on to a brand. I mean, there are resources out there. I mean, with ours, BLLA, we're getting more and more, but also all over the internet. There's so many social networks. We're creating our own, but even on LinkedIn, you're not alone. You can ask a question, message people. A lot of people are going through what you're going through right now. And I think when travel does come back, I think what everyone has said, and no one has doubted this, is that travel is going to change forever. And I'm not saying it's going to change badly. It's just, I think it's an enhanced travel where short-term, small hotels, very intimate experiences will shine through this. We were talking about luxury tents, and they were saying how they're perfectly positioned for a post-COVID world because their tents are all 10 feet apart. Everything is already set up for, the guidelines of how to reopen. They've been doing that for years and they've perfected it. But I think smaller hotels definitely in the short term will shine just because I think a traveler will have social anxiety coming into a large space. I talked about before about like development, what to do with your properties that are 400 rooms or larger. It's like you're going to redevelop them into what I call multi-concept buildings. So it's part hotel, part co-working, part this, part that, part wellness center. I don't think 400 rooms is going to last much longer. With travel, it definitely will change forever. But I think people are going to fall in love with travel because you don't realize you missed something until it's gone.
Right.
And I think the world, you can't travel. It's like, it's not your choice. You cannot travel. And I think people are realizing how much they miss it. And there's this video that went viral. His name is Tom. It was on YouTube. And it was like this really cute storybook fairy tale about what's happening in COVID, and what it made us realize is that this is the time to reconnect with your family, reconnect with loved ones, find your passion in life, use this time to realize what's most important to you. And that's where travel can play a part, because travel, there's one thing about it. It's about creating memories. It's about creating experiences. It's about learning new cultures. And that's the thing. You see like Coursera and all these educational platforms, they're growing like they couldn't even believe.
Right.
Everyone is on a course, on some new degree, an educational thing. Everyone's doing it. I think I'm signed on to like 10 different certification things right now. So education is huge. People want to learn. And travel is how you can learn in person, experience it firsthand. So it's definitely not going away. I think it's going to boom. I don't know when. No one has answers on that. But it will boom. I think the first boom will be the smaller, intimate experiences. And I think independent hoteliers need to remember that, because if you do sign on to a brand, you can't do what you want. Like, you are going to have someone saying, no, you can't. Right. Just remember that. That. Not saying it's bad.
Yeah. And leisure travel is going to come back first. I mean, we're already seeing it. We have an office in Singapore, and they were seeing it in Singapore. The tourism, bureau was coming alongside hotels for staycations because all the hotels in Singapore, or a lot of them, have, fantastic restaurants and pools, and they were trying to just pull in the locals. And I would imagine I think we're already starting to see it. I think we'll see more of it. And I think the boutiques can really benefit from that when it really starts to hit its stride.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're all going to be doing like the driving vacations, and, if they have always been about localization, which was funny because that was our webinar topic today. But boutique hotels have been doing that for so long that they are also in that better position because, hey, guess what? They're the ones where their lobby is, as we were talking about with Graduate Hotels today with David, it's like it's telling the story of the local community. So that they already have that really engulfed into their hotels. When the local community is coming, they're like, oh, wow, like this is amazing. Like they really value their local neighborhood. This isn't just a business that makes money. There's more of a purpose to it. And that's also what I'm seeing is not just in hospitality, but in all more experiential businesses, your customer is truly falling in love with brands that align with their values, like 100%. Mm-hmm. I think that there's going to be dips where it's just companies that sell something. They're just selling something to you. They're selling rooms, or they're selling this coffee, and that's all it's about. There's not really a mission or a purpose, or they're not part of some bigger movement. I don't know. When people want to spend their money, it's because they strongly believe in that company and what they're doing. So you see a lot of those shining and how they're giving back, like Bluestone Lane. They're giving back to the frontline workers. Domio, they donated their rooms for the frontline workers. You see a lot of cool brands, showing their true colors. Like a lot of it's been good. No, some has been bad too, but I've seen a lot of good. And people are going to remember that. What you do now, people are going to remember in 3 years. Just remember that.
Yeah, and that kind of takes us to my next question about the planning, these boutiques, what they're doing now. How is the planning now going to impact them short term and then long term?
Well, yeah, so they definitely need to follow, CDC guidelines, and there's lots of resources out there like about health and safety. You gotta start hiring your talent back. That's something we're going to be talking about in our guide coming out in a couple of weeks. But the difference, Jody Panett of CV5 Hospitality Consulting, he was the one who brought this up to us. Boutique hotels differ also from bigger brands because the people they hire are usually, not everyone, but a lot of them more on the higher up side. They come from a creative background. Now, hiring them back may be a struggle. So we're also training our hotels in how to hire your creative talent back, because that's going to be a struggle in its own, because like I was telling you, people are finding new passions in life, and like maybe they're realizing, and people are getting a lot in unemployment checks. I've been in some Facebook groups and people got their job back and they decided not to take it because one of two reasons: they found a new passion in life, or they're getting more on their unemployment checks. So you might run into trouble there. But they are definitely preparing. They're keeping engaged. Communications is a lot of, some brands were very strategic. Like Neuhaus, they went dark. So they kind of said, I don't know what to say. We're going to go dark for a while because we just don't have any words. It's so shocking. And then they kind of came back online. I started seeing emails from them and Instagrams last week. And that actually worked to their benefit, because they said, okay, you know what? We've been able to re-strategize. They came out with a new website. And they were staying engaged in different ways by like being super interactive and going on webinars and kind of going onto other people's platforms, which I thought was an interesting way to do it. If you look at their competitor like Soho House, they like were blasting with content all day long. I'm a member of that, and it was lots of content, which I like. So it's, people kind of took different strategies, but I think what a lot of people have been doing is getting really creative with their digital marketing these past 6 weeks. And I think a lot of them have been working on projects that are now completing. They're being completed right now and coming into fruition. Those that were smart weren't sitting at home, doing whatever. They had a small team and they were really strategizing long term. So what we're noticing is new websites are coming into play. I'm seeing new social media strategies. I think a lot of hotels are going through the renovation process, which I also think was smart, if that works for you. There's some hoteliers and owners that, they had opportunity to expand their portfolio now. So it's not always all negative. It's just, you have to be careful. You have to be strategic. So yeah, and I think no one has definitive answers about anything, but a lot of it is like you're just experimenting with a lot of different things. And that's what we're taking notice of, all the different experimentations, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work, but no one has like a clear answer yet. We probably won't until next year, honestly.
Right. What about what you had brought up, Instagram and some of the marketing? What about some of the marketing that you're seeing the boutiques undertake?
I've been noticing that I think what a lot of them have been doing is taking a look at who their customer base is, what do they enjoy doing that has nothing to do with the hotel, and then kind of like connecting the dots. So if a lot of them like, I don't know, streetwear, I'm just thinking of that. Maybe they partner with like a streetwear media company like High Snobiety, get some local independent designers. I've been like seeing that a little bit, and like finding these new partnerships. That's what I've been seeing. Partnerships that you would have never thought of are like, hey, you know what? We're both in this pickle. Let's use, each other's followers, each other's, the audience, and work together, and we can like cross market each other. I've been seeing a lot of that, which I think is so smart, because again, it's not about selling your hotel, and it's not going to be for a while. It's about selling what you value. What is your why? And I know that sounds like fluff, but in a post-COVID world, it's not, because again, like I was saying, when people are going to give up their money and kind of put themselves in risk to be out in the world, they're going to do it because they know that they're meant to be there and they love the business's values. Like that's been happening for a while now, but this just lit a it's like a gaslight under that type of mindset. So.
Yeah, I like that. I've done a fair amount of, staycations in downtown Houston for anniversaries and things like that. And, if they glom on to other interesting people and services and products and whatnot, that
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that would pull me in, and eventually would pull me into another stay.
Exactly. I mean, I think a lot of hotels are smart in offering like their gift certificates. The one thing, oh my gosh, if you're a hotelier and you're doing this, please stop. Do not slash your rates. It's like, please do not, because to get your rate back up to where it was, it's going to take even longer. So if you're not getting those bookings, don't slash it, because that's not going to help. Having one or two more guests, that's not going to help you at all. But I like these bond programs, buy one, get one, gift certificates. I think that's awesome. I see some hotels going crazy with the blackout dates. I would not advise that, because you're going to really make the traveler angry. But I think getting creative with that is a good idea. Because, and I think explaining why, because, putting money, a lot of these boutique hotels are small businesses. So really should get the SBA money. But I think telling the traveler why is because you're helping a small business. You're helping the hotel pay their employees. You're doing this, you're doing that. I think being really transparent with the traveler as to why, you shouldn't just sell it and force it. Tell them why, be honest. I've been advising some hoteliers, take a selfie video of your empty hotel and tell them what's really happening. People love transparency. Even with bloggers, you see the fashion blogger dying, the one where it's all photoshopped and she looks like a multi-billionaire. Those are gone. It's the blogger who shows, him or her, her true self. I had a really bad day today. But those are the ones that sponsors are buying into. And I think it's something that hotels can look at too. It's not about, ooh, perfect, we're going to hide everything. Here's a red curtain and nothing. That's just not going to work with the traveler anymore. They want to know everything.
Right. Well, hey, I've enjoyed the conversation.
Yes, me too. Thanks, Jason.
We need to do this again.
Yes, definitely. Awesome. I love talking about this. And thank you for inviting me, because this really helps, the collective of, supporting the boutique movement. So I really appreciate it.